Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I'm presenting the Elvi Fox 185. I'll give you a quick update, especially in comparison to our last video, because some of the accessories that come standard with the welder have changed. The welder has a maximum current of 170 amps, a duty cycle of 110 amps at 60%, and thanks to the PFC electronic system, it has very low power consumption. So it can be used safely with household power. I remind you that the Elvi Fox 185 is a multi-process welder, meaning we can weld both with flux cord wire without gas and with solid wire with gas. And of course, it works on steel, stainless steel, and with the correct consumables, even aluminum. We can also connect an electrode holder and weld with coated electrodes, including rutile, basic, stainless steel, and cast iron. Additionally, with an optional torch, we can weld using TIG. It's a DC TIG with lift start, meaning you initiate the arc by touching the tungsten electrode to the workpiece. And we can weld steel and stainless steel. The optional torch is a torch with a trigger on the handle, a torch with a valve. The welder is supplied with a welding generator that has a 16 amp plug. Inside we find a 0.9mm 500 gram spool of flux cord wire to use without gas and a 0.8mm 1 kilogram spool of copper coated steel wire to use with gas. We also have an MB15 150 amp torch with the classic consumables for the 15 series, 3 meters in length and with a Euro connection. Inside we find a small bag containing some consumables for the torch, including a few wire guide tips, contact tubes, 0.6mm, 0.8mm and 1mm, a roller for flux cord wire, and inside the welder you'll also find one for solid wire with gas, along with some clamps to connect the gas hose. Inside we also find a pressure reducer with 2 gauges and a cylinder adapter, so you can connect it to a refillable gas cylinder. Additionally, there's a kit that allows us to switch from the classic, a tube for a refillable gas cylinder. With this adapter, we switch to the classic 4mm Orison tube, which can be used to connect to a regulator for disposable gas cylinders that has a completely different fitting. Inside, we find an electrode holder with a 3-meter cable, 16 square millimeters, and a ground clamp with a 3-meter cable, also 16 square millimeters. And that's not all. Top Welding also gives you a complimentary pair of split leather welding gloves, very well finished with Kevlar stitching. I'll quickly show you the control panel where we have the main selector in the center for choosing the various programs. On the left side we find MMA welding, and it's very simple to adjust the welding current. And with the potentiometer on the right, we can adjust the start, which is the additional voltage for welding specific electrodes, allowing for much easier arc ignition during TIG welding. We simply need to adjust the welding current. Next, we move on to MIG/MAG welding in manual mode, just like with a traditional welder. Here we adjust the wire feed speed and the welding voltage. And then we move on to all the other functions, green-blue, which are the automatic programs that are synergistic with all the pre-configurations already made by Elvi. And I will give an example. I'm going to configure the program 0.8mm copper-plated iron with the gas protection of an argon CO2 mix. In this case, I adjust the thickness of the sheet metal to be welded using the potentiometer on the left. If I set it to position 0, the wire feed speed is already the recommended speed by Elvi. However, I can still make adjustments based on the type of weld I need to perform, the type and shape of the bead I want to create, and certainly based on the skill of the operator. I'll show you inside the spool holder compartment where we find a very useful chart for the less experienced operator, especially for using the manual MIG program. Inside the spool compartment, we find the spindle and the spool holder, designed to accommodate spools with diameters of 100mm and 200mm. A metal wire drive system with 2 rollers and a very well-made, robust friction mechanism. The 2 clamps for changing polarity, and then we find 2 very interesting potentiometers. The first one is the slope up, which controls the ramp up at the start. This is very useful, for example, to prevent the wire from sticking to the workpiece. It gradually starts the wire feed speed. The one on the right is the burn back time, which controls the wire burn back time. It allows you to adjust how much wire extends out of the torch at the end of the weld. This is a very useful feature, especially when performing spot welding operations. Well, we've come to the end of this video. I always remind you that Tutto Saldatura is at your disposal if you need any technical information. Whether it's about consumables or accessories suitable for your welder, we're always at your disposal for any adjustments or personalized offers and promotions. I'll say goodbye for now and see you next time. Bye.